We all know that right now Chris has gotten to Madam Esther's house. Please, if you've not seen the first episode, do check it out. It's already out before watching this one so that you can understand who Chris is and how we got here. So we are still talking about magical encounter. So Chris went to Madam Esther's house, who happens to be their former cleaner, because he was stranded, the parents are late, and he had nowhere to stay. Madam Esther took him in, but the daughter wasn't having it because the last time Sharon visited Chris' former house, Chris insulted her and then walked her off the premises. So this broke her, and of course the mom talked to her to accept Chris as the part of the family now, which she has no other option than to. But unfortunately, Chris was not having it because of the quality of food he eats. He's not used to this type of food. As a rich kid, he's not used to sleeping in the sitting room. And in case if you don't know, Madam Esther just has a room self-contained, just parlor, room, toilet, and bath. And she shares the main room with the daughter while Chris has to sleep in the sitting room. He wasn't having it, but he had no other option. So Madam Esther left the house because she needed to get another job. So she works with all this agency that, gets people for cleaning, sweeping, and all that. So Chris was sleeping. Sharon had to wake Chris up. Sharon was like, Chris, you have to wake up. You have to sweep. You have to generally help yourself at this point because you can't just come here and be sleeping away your life. So because of that, they were having lots of issues. Chris sometimes needed to use the restroom, and it was just one toilet and bath in Sharon's room. So it was a lot of struggles for Chris, and he kept complaining. So most times he gets his phone, he will call a few of his friends that still cares about him and tells them that please, life is hard, that this house is smelling, the house is small, and he generally cannot adapt in such an environment. So Sharon overheard him, and this broke her again. She went to complain to the mom that this boy you brought into the house is very, very, very ungrateful. And of course, as always, Madam Esther shunned Sharon and told her that she should be a little bit accommodative and know that it is hard for Chris as well. So along the line, they were living as one big family, and Sharon kept trying to put Chris in his place. You always tell Chris that you have to work, you have to cook. And of course, Chris started realizing that, this is my life, why they live, no go help me last. So I have to bend down and do the needful. So he started learning how to cook, how to clean, how to adapt in such an low-class environment, considering where he is coming from. So on a very good day, good news came. The mom, Madam Esther, got a job in another house as their chief chef. So of course, they will definitely have something to eat. Chris, remembering his late parents again, broke him as always. So Sharon was kind enough to come to his rescue and try to console him, telling him that she once lost dad and she knew how bad it got for them. So, they became together, they became closer, and Chris will always come through to help her in reading because she's preparing to write JAMB exams. So, it was all about reading, it was all about relaxation, it was all about fun. Chris realized that, to be humble, we definitely put him through or scale him through, so it was all rosy. They kept eating together as one big family. Everything was very perfect. But then something happened. They grew extra love for each other. Meanwhile, Sharon came back with the good news that she passed her exams, and Chris was so happy for her, and Chris decided to gift her a necklace, a golden necklace, to celebrate her after Chris sold his phone to make up money for more feeding money and also to gift her. But then something also happened. These two birds, their love went to the next level. When they started having affection for each other, they would go out to lick ice cream, to hang out with friends and do a lot of things. And then this thing kept happening. One day, Chris complained that he's always having sleepless nights, that he barely sleeps. And the same thing with Sharon. Sharon was like, I barely sleep. And they decided to meet one fateful night. And when Chris professed his love to Sharon, Sharon collapsed and slumped. They became confused. How come? What happened? The mom was alerted, and they called in a doctor. Doctor checked her and said that medically she's sound. But they have to also get extra money to get a pastor, because as it is, Sharon wasn't getting any better, and she's fine medically. After Pastor prayed, Pastor revealed that what Chris did was because of the parents' death because he insulted the old woman earlier before, and Chris accepted that he did something that is bad, but he didn't know that made the parents and Sharon, anybody Chris professes love to, will definitely die. So the pastor told Chris that he can do only one thing, but go to the venue that he insulted the old woman to ask for forgiveness, and then something will definitely happen. If he didn't do that before 12 midnight, Sharon would die. Chris went there to appease the old woman, and there was no time because the pastor also went further to tell him that the old woman is already dead. So the only thing to do is to do what he needs to do, and he will get a sign. So while Chris went there to apologize at that particular venue, something happened. The sign was a heavy rainfall, which shows that his sins are being forgiven. That is where mystery came in. Lo and behold, it was all a dream. Chris woke up from a dream, and this changed his life. This was the magical encounter that we've been waiting for. The mom came in and was like, I came back from the dinner and they told me we were sleeping. Chris was like, Mommy, are you alive? Daddy, are you alive? He went downstairs and his attitude to his staffs changed because he knew that he was getting it all wrong. The staff, on the other hand, were super confused at what was all this. Like, how come this guy that used to slap them up and down now became so passionate about them? As we are trying to round our hands around it, Sharon came in to see the mom as always, and Chris went all out to meet Sharon. He was like, Sharon, thank God you are okay. How are you? They exchanged hugs and all that good stuff. Sharon was also surprised that the last time she visited the house, Chris insulted the hell out of her. So how come? What is going on? Chris, on the other hand, came in and begged Sharon to be his friend, which Sharon agreed with the help of the mom. Chris also went to shop, did a lot of shopping for the domestic staff, and gifted each and every one of them gifts. This thing made them they were super confused at how their little boss has changed so drastically. So they were all happy for him. Even the parents noticed the drastic change, and they kept congratulating him, telling him they don't know how to correct him before, but glad he changed. So this was actually the magical encounter we've been praying for, according to the parents. So Sharon and Chris became best of friends, and hopefully this will lead to marriage. Thank you so much for watching. Do subscribe for more. Bye, guys.